Hello and welcome to Trading Day. Serene Watson might find herself on the trade table after comments about Nick Del Santo's haircut, but it's a big week for football, and as we look at it now, 7 days, 1 hour, 28 seconds since a player has been traded. So we've got plenty to talk about, though, as we welcome Feathers Del Santo.
Dicko.
Cuts his own hair. We'll get to that shortly. Josh Barnes and Glennie McFarlane. Welcome, boys.
Thanks, Dicko.
Now, a bit of a clip off the top, Del.
It
you
was.
cut your own hair.
I have had occasions this year, Dicko, where I wake up, I don't like it, so I just get the clippers out and do it myself, which doesn't get a great review.
Cost of living crisis, I reckon.
Yeah,
Del,
but I look forward to the AFLW trade period where Serene Watson's name will be on that as well.
Well, you can't notice you cut your own hair. Glennie McFarlane, I want to bring you in straight away. Dan Houston, has he found a home?
Houston, we might have found a solution, boys. I think we've been waiting this for a long time now, haven't we? So Collingwood's set to secure Dan Houston in what looks like the deal that could unlock this long impasse we've had all the way through the trade period. Now, bear with me, because it's a three-way deal that would be the Magpies, Suns and Power. There's still a few finer details to be organised through that, so you'd think early tomorrow morning would be something that we could get through. So, as I say, bear with me. Here we go. Pies would likely give up a future first round plus John Noble and most likely Joe Richards as well. That's going to be thrown in there as well. They get back Dan Houston. Tick, I think. You know, in that sense, that's a big tick there. So the Gold Coast would get Collingwood and Port Adelaide's future first round. That's pretty good from their perspective as well. They give up Jack Lukosius as well as picks 13 and 29 as well. And you look at Port Adelaide there, they lose Houston and the first rounder, but they would get back 13, 29, possibly Joe Richards. And again, here's an interesting one, Del. Forgotten son Rory Atkins, who hasn't played since round 4, only played a handful of games this year. He's in the same management group as Dan Houston. He's looking for opportunity, obviously, there at the Power. So if you have a look across the board, it's probably a win-win everywhere as well. And it's something that's going to hopefully unlock what we really need to unlock.
I think that makes sense for each club. And I think gone are the days where one team clearly wins and the other one clearly loses. All of those trades, whether it be players or picks, all makes perfect sense for their individual needs. So well done to them. I think this will be the piece, if I'm understanding this correctly, that then will have a flow-on effect afterwards.
Let's hope. And possibly the flow-on effect could, lean back to Richmond as well, if you look at it as well. It would give the Tigers access to, picks 6 and 23 for Dan Rioli. It means the Suns get to be able to do a deal with Richmond, and they get that out. I think the Suns are actually, a few people who criticise the Suns giving up pick 6, but I think they're going to do all right out of it in the end. They're going to get some really good future first rounds. They bring in the players that they want, Rioli and Noble, but they also bring in the points that they need for this draft period going forward as well.
Well, let's talk about it. That deal gets done. What does that do for Collingwood in the back half?
Well, you have a look at the Maynard. You've got Maynard, Moore, Howe, Quainer, Side, Bottom. They're a team that finished 9th. A year ago, they're the best team in Australia. So I think there's been pieces. And you look at the Lockie Schultz one from last year, there was a lot of talk about that was a significant move. Maybe. It wasn't life-changing and they weren't desperate to replace that position. This one makes perfect sense. All chips in. Multiple All-Australian, uses the football as good as anybody off the half-back line. And you think about the modern game and where games are possibly won or lost. It's through foot skills. A lot of the good teams have great team defences. What is the one chance you've got to break that is foot skills, and this guy has that.
Yeah, well, we fell in love with Collingwood in their first year under Craig McRae because they had that verve off half-back. They were so quick, so fast off there. Nick Dacos set up a lot of that. Dan Houston can replace that role a little bit with his kicking. He can be the Nick Dacos sort of replacement there. Dacos stays in the middle. Harry Perryman helps him in the middle as a free agent acquisition. I think they get better.
Yeah, I think it's massive off the half-back. He kicking from 60. Like, that's huge in terms of his impact.
And if you look at the guys that you mentioned there before, Del, are either All-Australians or they're All-Australian nominees. All of those guys you mentioned. So it really does maybe turn the needle for the Pies in a sense.
And then the flow-on from that. So if this one is unlocked, and we're assuming it's going to get done tomorrow morning, what does that trigger as a response?
We're running out of time, aren't we? So I think that's the Dan Rioli thing. That gives Gold Coast and Richmond a chance to really get that done. It'll unlock some of the others. Hopefully, just we need something happening, Barnesy. That's the thing. We've got the shortest week of the year is the week between Christmas and New Year, and the longest week of the year is trade week. So we need to get something happening. But I think it'll unlock quite a few, leading towards obviously the big one on Wednesday night. There'll be a couple of big ones. Bailey Smith could go down to the wire on that one.